He don't. He's still a boss. I mean, that's his attitude.
Keante, you got the keys, yo.
Who am I here with today?
Again, say your name.
Keante Whitlow.
What if I told you I could get you 100K? Ain't gotta say a song, gotta sell no yay. Ain't gotta flip no peas, ain't gotta hit the road.
This is an example of no excuses.
Whatever you want, you could truly have.
There's no excuse. Anyone can get access to credit. My name is Keante Whitlow, and I specialize in helping people get access to 50 or 250K. I also help people get a 750 plus credit score.
Hi, my name is Kendria Stewart, and I am Keante Whitlow's mother.
My name is David Stewart, and I am Keante's stepfather.
I was pretty blessed, but unfortunately, I was like a bad kid, and I think I wouldn't say I was ungrateful, but I was never happy. I mean, I was happy, but I was never grateful, kind of for what I had. I always wanted more, and it kind of got me into trouble. As I got older, trying to do different things to make life and to make money come quicker. But my upbringing as a kid was pretty good. I just had a lot of family, and I was just known as the bad little kid or the bad cousin. But yeah, other than that, I was pretty good. I was blessed. My parents were great providers. They were great teachers. I just was a knucklehead that didn't listen.
So before Keante's accident was very interesting because it was a very challenging time. He had just turned 18 years old, so he, for the lack of better words, a lot of times when people turn 18, they think that they're grown because legally they feel like they are. And with him being a born leader, it was hard for him to listen and take direction because leaders like to learn from their own experiences. So it was a very challenging time at that time, but he's my first son, so he was always extremely determined before the accident and also after.
So, in my best words, the situation that happened to me, I was actually a victim of a crime. I got shot in my neck back in 2015 on November 30th. It was a robbery. A girl set me up to get robbed, and the people who tried to rob me, they actually tried to rob me, but then they got kind of spooked after the fact, and then they end up running to the car, and then they running to their car, and then they shot, because the guy who actually was trying to rob me, his gun jammed when he tried to shoot, so then he ran back to the car, and whoever was in their car started shooting, and they got shot with the first bullet that was shot.
My initial reaction was shock. I couldn't believe it. It was very, very intense because I just had a conversation with him probably within, about half an hour to 45 minutes before it. He had came into the house, and at the time he was moving out. He had just got his own place, and he came to get his TV. I was coming out my room, and he was coming out of his room, his room that he had there, and he was coming out with his TV, and he was like, "Hey Dave, I need to give you something." I'm like, "What's that?" He was like, he wanted to pay me for, I believe it was for his phone bill. He used to pay on his phone bill and his insurance. And so he had gave me some money, and I just thought it was just a normal day for him because I had just got back from work, and I just thought it was just a regular normal day. And he gave me the money, and he left out. Because when I pulled up in the yard, the people that he was riding with was in the car outside. So he left, went and got in the car, and just left, and we didn't think nothing of it.
My initial reaction was literally I screamed. And I just remember I was driving on the highway and I received a phone call from one of his friends who lived across the street. And when she said it, I literally just screamed. And one of the things that she said is that was like the worst scream that she has ever heard. And because it was such just very hard, just hard information to receive, and me driving on the highway, I got off on the next exit and I literally just kind of like screamed and just cried out to God. That's all I could do was cry out to God. And because she didn't know where he was, I needed to take the time to try to find out what hospital he was at. So once I got like my screams and my cries out to God, then I was able to call the hospital because she didn't know which hospital he was at. And the first hospital that I called was the hospital of where he was. And I remember they gave the phone to the officer, and where I'm asking for information regarding my son, the officer's asking me information of how did I find out? He was left in a car by himself. No one was around. How did I find out that he was shot? And so the only information I can give him is what I received. I just received a phone call, but I felt like I was being badgered, and it was a very frustrating time because I just wanted to make sure that my son was okay. And I just asked the officer, can I just please talk to my son? And he said he's not in a position to talk and that he was being life flighted to a hospital in Cleveland. And ironically, that hospital, I was right by it. And so I tell people that you gotta follow your spirit because you never know. You just never know. So it was ironic. It wasn't ironic, but it was ironic for me because we had relocated to a different county. And so I really didn't go to that county anymore. And for me to be right there by that hospital was truly a blessing. So the officer said he was being life flighted. And I arrived at that hospital 1 minute after he arrived. And all I could do is pray. That's all I could do is pray. Just even going in, and my husband called my sister-in-law because she was closer. He was still in the county of where we lived. And she met me there, and all I could do was pray. That's it. Of course, I was extremely emotional, especially not knowing, and just knowing that he couldn't talk and that he had to be life flighted to a hospital where most people who go there is because of trauma. And so the fact of not knowing was hard, not knowing what to expect. And like I said, the only thing I could really do is pray. And even after I did get to see him, seeing him like that, it was hard. It was hard, but as much as I was against the tattoos, because he always did stuff. He just always did stuff, but it was a cross that he had. And it was almost like on his chest, it was like it was illuminated. And that just gave me some form of consolation, but it was hard. Those first days and weeks, the first day was the hardest because I just remember the doctor saying, well, you know, we don't take bullets out. And I knew that to be true because the same thing happened to one of my cousins in Toledo, and they didn't take the bullet out. And then when the doctor said, you know, plus we don't know if he's going to make it the first 48 hours. So that was like hard as a parent to hear, wait a minute, my child may not make it. You know, that was like extremely devastating. And so I just remember going downstairs to the chapel and just giving God his word back and praying for my son and praying for the doctors and every person that came in contact with him. And I remember one of my members came downstairs to the chapel and she said, the doctors want to talk to you because they told me that they would not do the surgery to remove the bullet. And when I went back upstairs, they changed. They said, we're going to go ahead and do it. And interestingly, I had already prayed for them, their hands, that God would give them wisdom and use them as instruments. And he did.
Since the accident, my life has like drastically changed. Like there's a lot of things I cannot do on my own anymore. Like pretty much everything I had to have help, like from my friends and family. Just like, of course, I can do a lot of things online, a lot of social media things, a lot of things for business. But like the main daily life things, I need help with, like physical things, and like even eating. Like when I actually got shot, I couldn't eat for like the first 2 or 3 months, and I couldn't even talk at one point. So my life has definitely changed, but I definitely have progressed.
His inability to do for himself, because this kid was, when I came into their life, I believe he was anywhere between 9 and 10. And he's always been super active. And always, you know, was into sports. You know, the guy was slamming when he was, in the 10th grade maybe. You know, he was probably the only guy in the school that could hang on the backboard or the rim, I mean. So it was challenging.
How life would be. How life would be for him, more so than anything. And then how would that work in our family dynamic? So, and that was the hardest thing.
I learned a lot about myself. I learned like what not to do, what to do, how to take life more serious, how to not take things for granted, how to be just comfortable with what I have until I'm able to grow and improve my quality of life. I learned a lot throughout this situation. I learned more about myself, like just knowing who I am as a man and as a son, just everything. My friends and family is everything. Without them, I wouldn't be who I am. I wouldn't be here. Like even like my mom, she made sure when I did get injured that I didn't stay in a hospital or in a nursing home, because if I did, I probably wouldn't be here to this day. But she made sure I came home. She made sure she took care of me, and she still is making sure she does whatever she has to do to make sure that I'm good. And then, of course, my stepdad, like it's like a lot of friends and family as well, but my stepdad has played a great part into making sure I'm good as well. Just they all make sure I like not just I'm good, but make sure I'm happy and make sure my quality of life is good too. Like if you guys see me online, it's because my friends and my family, especially my family, my mom, my stepdad, my aunties, like different people are always helping me behind the scenes, me just making sure that I can live the best life as possible within my situation.
It's been very challenging for my family and my wife and him and all of us. One thing that I know that for sure that the strength of God, you really was a part of what helps us through, what helps me through. And, you know, a lot of times we don't talk about it, but you know, we look at the situation. I know it used to hurt me a lot in the beginning because he's a young man and you say to yourself, he didn't deserve it, you know? And so that kind of like pulled on me for a long time. And I'm pretty sure his mom, you know, we just can't imagine what her thoughts and feelings were. But, you know, that was really made us pull closer to God and closer to each other as a family because we knew we needed each other.
So yeah, me with my recovery. So like I said, when I first got injured, I was in the hospital for about 3 months. I actually was taken to Toledo because it was a hospital that specialized in helping people get out the trach. So at first I had a trach, which is why my voice was affected. But that hospital played a key part of getting me off the trach, where I could actually started to eat on my own as well within those first 3 months as well. Just doing like speech therapy where I could do swallow tests, and then I started doing funny fact, I actually didn't get into occupational therapy at first because they denied me because the speech therapist was supposed to come back with some like applesauce and some jello and stuff when I first started to eat. But I thought that it was the same person for the occupational therapist. It was actually the occupational therapist, but I thought it was the speech therapist coming to bring the food, so I wouldn't cooperate. So they actually denied me because I was too focused about eating. Like I was starving, man. I couldn't eat for like 3 or 4 months. Like 3 months, and then I couldn't drink or nothing. I was having dreams about food. I was having dreams about pop. Man, I even dreamed one time that I was just drinking my own pee because that's how thirsty I was. But like some people don't really realize like how it is when you can't eat or something like that. So just a fun fact. Being motivated is kind of one of the easier things for me, is because I've never been a guy who kind of like, I might get depressed or I might feel like I don't want to do something, but then it kind of is boring for me. So me always having something like a goal in mind always drives me. Or like also just having prayer, like my family praying for me. My mom and my stepdad are pastors, so they're always praying for me. I don't know, like, of course, I think that that's a big part of it that I really can't explain because I've been getting prayed for all these years. So I'm pretty sure that that's a big part of being motivated. And then also just, like I said, having a goal in mind that's something that I want to accomplish, or something that I want to, a place that I want to see myself in the near future.
It's inspiring every day to me. Even I believe it inspires my other children because he's still a boss. I mean, that's his attitude, and sometimes, he likes to, have his way, but, he's a strong guy, man. And everybody can learn from him, I believe.
Well, first of all, it's commendable because, just to see him and his work ethic is like mind blowing. It's amazing what he's built on his bed. I tell people all the time, like, my son is a great inspiration, not only to me, but to many, because, he has a lot of limitations, physical limitations, but he still strives, he still presses, and he still does what he needs to do. And literally no excuses. That fits him very well because even as a child, he was very determined and he had wisdom. And, as an adult, I see those same strengths, but I see them even more. So he's very inspirational and just every day. So I'm grateful.
At first, it changed. I'm going to give you two parts. It changed because our whole life changed. Our financial situation changed in the beginning because my wife had to, she kind of stopped her job and started caring for him. So it kind of changed. And then we weren't able to take vacations or nothing because, for the first couple of years, we had to just stay focused on him and his recovery. And so, through the years, God has been so good to us because, we just stay consistent and just stay consistent in prayer and consistent in trusting in God and having faith in each other and through all the ups and downs. And now we're relocated here and we just been having the time of our life, and just to see him be able to get out and do the things that he wants to do now. It's just been like a 180, especially for him. So me and my wife, we're just very happy and very proud that he's able to get out and met new friends and everything and be at, these functions.
Some of the biggest challenges initially was just getting the help. And I was insurance for years, so I dealt with customers with their auto insurance policies, and I treated them with respect and tried to help them. But I learned we never had any health issues, so we never had to go to the hospital or anything like that outside of me having, my children. And so I learned going into the medical field with him, just helping him, that it was just a whole different world. And I felt like these are people who are in need, and there was no sense of urgency. It was just kind of like difficult. So I had to really be an advocate for him. I had to really fight for him. And, people would come back and say, well, thank God, your son they were used to the way the system was and insurance companies and things like that. So it was very challenging to try to get the help, which led me to be the one to take care of him because it was just so hard. Even when we did get help, it wasn't something that was permanent. People would come and go. So it just caused me to really have to shift and take care of him. And sometimes it's still challenging because it's hard work. People see, his videos, and he is awesome, amazing right now. But there's a lot of work that goes behind it, behind the scenes. I feel like, when you give your life to God, your life is not your own. But even when you have, someone that you're taking care of, your life is not your own. You got to be there for them when they are in need. So.
Some of my long-term goals, just I'd like to, of course, improve my quality of life. I still have goals, financial goals I want to accomplish, physical goals I want to accomplish. I want to, of course, I want to be healed, so I'm constantly praying that I'll be healed. Of course, there's just I want to see, like, from my clients, I strive to like have like a lot of students who just really takes heed to everything that I've been teaching online, everything that I've been teaching in my community. I want to see all of them meet their financial goals as well. Like I know a lot of people just seen that we kind of met one of our big goals was to purchase a new house, and we moved to Atlanta. So I want that for my clients, my students. For credit repair, everything kind of like tied back to me, my medical injury. So when I first got injured, of course, I had before I got injured, I was 18, so I had a credit card. But then once I couldn't pay anymore, I realized that the bill collectors are calling and everything, but it's because I owe on this credit card. It was for a watch. So they're telling me to either give back the credit card, give back the watch, so they're telling me to either give back the watch, or they're going to put the watch as a collection on my credit report. So of course, with me not knowing what I know now, I said I'm not about to give y'all back the watch unless you guys are going to give me my money back that I paid. So of course they didn't. They put it on as a collection, and then later on, like down the line, I started trying to apply for some things, and I realized that it wasn't just that collection on there, but I actually had some big medical bills on my credit report as well. So I kind of learned how to get that stuff off of my credit report. Once I got that stuff off, I started applying for different credit cards and realizing that now, since I got this credit card, my first credit card was $500. And so I'm like, what can I do with it? How can I use this $500 to actually make me money? So I started buying shoes like I used to when I was in high school. I bought shoes, and I sold the shoes for more money, and I started getting higher and higher credit limits after that. So then I just kept buying and reselling, and then I'm like, once I realized that, I'm like, wait, credit is really important. There's a lot of things that you can do with this credit card. There's a lot of opportunities to make money from other people's money. So then I started to help my family with the same thing, help people get items off of their credit report so they can get credit cards and they can learn how to use other people's money as well. And the rest is history. Start doing it as a business. With me, at first, I was trying to use my accessibility features on my laptop, and then I actually kind of got smarter. And also back in like 2019, when I really got kind of like electronically independent, was when iPhone came out with a big feature where I can pretty much control everything with my voice, like you guys would with your thumbs. So then after that, because before that I was using like a couple different softwares that was installed into my laptop and trying to control the whole laptop based upon 3 different softwares working with each other. So then I kind of got smart, and I said, I can either continue with this, or I could just really focus on using my phone, and I can hire assistants where they can pretty much run everything for me quickly and smoothly. So back in 2019, it was when I hired my first VA, and so I pretty much just make sure I manage my team the right way, and then I communicate with them. I do different things on my phone as well. Everything runs way quicker on the phone than on my computer if I was to go back to using my accessibility features like I had on my computer. But yeah, I pretty much work everything with my voice as if someone would use with their thumbs or their hands. My first accomplishment was when I was able to get approved for like $20,000 in credit, and then after that, it kind of like accelerated really quickly, and I was able to get like 400K. So then once I realized I could actually get 400K, that's when I started doing it for other people. I'm like, wait, there's something here, because if I could do this, now I gotta figure out how to do this for other people. And then also just getting negative items removed off of like a lot of people's credit report, them contacting me, telling me that, hey, my credit is higher than it's ever been. Hey, I've been able to get approved for this. Hey, I've been able to get approved for that. Stuff like that. And so just basically getting people funded so that they can operate their business, they can start their business, different things like that.
Just for his determination, because one of those things that hit my mind was, oh my gosh, would he want to live like this? You know, when the doctors said this, you know, some of the negative things, it's like, oh my gosh, my son would not want to live like this. But to see he's living better than most people. And I'm not going to say most people, but like, wow, the things that he's doing, just his mind. I call him my genius son. So just his mind, his wisdom, just everything, his insight on things, and just his will not only to help himself, but to help others. That's just, I love that. And he's passionate about it too. So I'm grateful for that.
His accomplishments in life, that he came out of he was in a place at one time years ago, and he was able to come out of that place, and he's even grown spiritually, and you know, because we've been consistent in our walk with God, and so that, you know, helped him stay inspired, because we always have to, it's times that he reminds me. You know, I went through a situation recently, you know, and he, you know, put me and, you know, pulled me to the side pretty much, and was like, you know, giving me some of the same stuff back that we gave him. So it encouraged me to, you know, to straighten my act up. You know what I'm saying?
With credit repair, you want someone you could trust. There's a lot of people online who are doing credit repair, but there's a lot of people who are scamming, and there's a lot of people who are using people's info or selling people's info. But then there's also a lot of people who aren't even getting results, who don't know what they're doing. So you want someone who you can trust and who knows how to get the items removed quickly. So with me, we get things removed pretty quickly, and we also help people get access to funding pretty quickly. A good credit report can get funded like between 50 and 250K within just 30 days, as long as their credit is where it needs to be. And with credit repair, now we have our own little formula where we call it the credit blitz, and we're getting results within 30 days. But if you guys want to work with me, just comment the word credit or comment the word funding. And I also teach everything that I know in my community, and we're also dropping my new mentorship as well. Alright, so when I first got injured, when I checked my credit, I actually had a collection for $17,000. That's when I that's when I got life flighted. So instead of it going to insurance, they put that on my credit as a collection. I had another collection for $6,000 and one more collection for like close to $500. I honestly don't even know, and I never found out which part, which hospital bill those other two were, but I knew exactly what the life flighting was because it was so much money. I had to call around and try to figure out like what is this. Of course, I'm not just ignoring bill collectors because I want to get this stuff off of my name. I was getting declined for credit cards and not even knowing why. And I found out it's because, yes, I had a decent credit score, which I found out I thought it was decent. It was like 660. It was, which was okay, but it's because I was young. I didn't have much on there, so I was lucky that it wasn't like horrible, but yeah, just mean once I found out I had these collections on there, I immediately wanted to get them removed. I immediately wanted to get them taken care of. So I learned everything I had to learn. I started to go on YouTube University, and I learned pretty much everything I needed to know on how to get these collections removed. But then I actually later learned that there wasn't just one credit bureau. There's multiple credit bureaus. So I had to navigate through that. And then once I kind of like got the full picture, I learned how to dispute. That's when I kind of like, okay, now let me try to double back and see who else needs my help. Who else needs to get things off of their name, off of their credit report. Because credit is like a key factor. You can't even get good insurance if you don't have a decent credit score. So a lot of people saying, well, I'd rather just spend cash or I'd rather just not use credit. But what about your insurance rates? You can't. Yeah, you can't fake that. You can't use cash for that. It's still going to be a determining factor. I want people to know that, like, don't be ashamed. Just try to be yourself. Always be yourself. You can, like, a lot of people will tell people to just copy people. But like one thing I'm learning, you have to be original. You have to be yourself. Yes, you can follow a framework, but you can also have to be yourself. Just be authentic and live in the moment. Every day is not promised, so live for today. Don't make all these big goals because something might change tomorrow that will alter that goal. Just be yourself.
When my father wasn't around and available, when I married my husband back in 2007, and my brother was supposed to come and walk me down the aisle, and he didn't make it in time because he's always late. I hope he sees this. And, but I am too. So my son was there and he was like, I can walk you down. So that was just a very memorable moment. He walked me down the aisle and it was very special. And then one other time, I just remember being pregnant with my middle child, Victory, and I was scheduled to have a C-section on August the 3rd. And me and my son, Keante, we went to Radio Shack to upgrade my phone so I can get these great pictures. And then guess what? My water broke in Radio Shack. And I was like so nervous, extremely like, oh my gosh, just kind of went into a panic. And he was so calm. He was like, Mom, it's going to be okay. You're not going to have the baby by yourself. I can drive you to the hospital. You know, he wasn't even of driving age yet, but he was just so like remarkable, just like great support at that time. So that's one of my favorite memories of him as well.
My favorite moment of him is when he accepted me as a stepfather. In the beginning, when I first came around, we kind of like just hit it off in the beginning. And we was able to do some things together, you know what I'm saying, that kind of like, you know, he came and he stuck by my side when I was going through some stuff. And he was there with his mom, you know, and so, you know, I appreciated that.
Click the link in my description below or click that button on the screen right now.
We came from the bottom, now we leveling up. Credit clean, bankroll steady, we up. No excuses, we don't talk, we just do. Whole squad eating good, yeah, to play full too. $1 million vision when we hop in the V. Escalade, slide, pain dripping.